I couldn't get through. And I'm crying, baby, you drive me insane. Though your love is toxic, yeah, save me from this pain. But my brain's on fire. Oh, and I can't sleep. So I'm begging you, baby, would you stay with me? Well, I've been chewed up, let down, and torn up by your girl. You made a man your property, and you ripped away his world. And I don't want to admit it, but there's a man to blame. Well, I can only hate myself for feeling of his pain, 'cause my brain's on fire. Oh, and I can't sleep. So I'm begging you, baby, would you stay with me? Your mouth's a razor, cuts me to my soul. Though your love feels tender, your heart is black as coal. And I'm so sick and tired of all your little games. Oh, but I still need you to save me from my aims, 'cause my brain's on fire. Oh, and I can't sleep. So I'm begging you, baby, would you stay with me? Oh, well, I've seen her break a man. Yeah, and I've seen her pick him up again. Yeah, she's untethered, she got no reins. You can try to control her, but she's beyond your ways. Yeah, well, she's love, she can't be tamed. She's love, she can't be tamed. You can try to bring her down, you only kind of game. You can try to control her, but it's futile to try. She'll set your soul on fire and make you wanna die. Yeah, well, she'll hold you and then she'll use you. Yeah, she'll consume you and abuse you. Yeah, well, she's love, she can't be tamed. She's love, she can't be tamed. You can try to bring her down, you only kind of game. Hey, baby, don't you know I tried so hard to let her go. The more I try, the more I fail. Guess I can't escape this jail. She's love, and I wish I could tame her. Give her a shove, 'cause I truly hate her. I'm begging you, baby, to stay with me. I've been chewed up, let down by a girl. You made a man your property, and you ripped away his world. I don't wanna admit it, but there's a man to blame. I can only hate myself for feeling all this pain.
All right, and good morning. Hello. Welcome to Nightly News This Morning. I am Cousin Matt. We are live. Today is July the 4th. July the 4th. It's the 4th of July. It's a holiday here in the United States. Independence Day, Declaration of Independence. So, how you doing, Loner Nick? Good to see you this morning. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that somebody's here at the start of the show because that's not a very common occurrence. So, I'm glad to see you. Hopefully you got the day off. You got some cool plans. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. I don't have plans today. I think I'm going to work today, and then tomorrow, my girlfriend and I, she got a kayak for her birthday. Well, I helped get her a kayak for her birthday. And then I already had one. My brother and his wife both have one. And then, so we got her a kayak, and then we also got a life vest for our dog. So we're gonna go try out all the kayaks and life jackets and see how the dog feels about being on the water tomorrow. I'm excited. We're gonna go out to the lake and do some paddling and have some fun. So it should be a good time. My hair's sticking up a little bit on the side, but oh well. We're just going to roll with it today. So again, good to see you, Loner Nick. I'm going to start my recording here because I forgot to do that. And then we'll go ahead and get started on some nightly news this morning. How about that? Let me get switched screens here. All right, getting into our first story today on our Ground News Agitator. We have a story about a Republican senator from Tennessee calling for Trump's face to be added to Mount Rushmore. And I picked this story for a very particular reason. But if you can see here, this is a blind spot article for the left. We have 57% of the distribution on this story coming from the right, 21% from the center, 21% from the left. So these geniuses think that they're gonna put Trump on Mount Rushmore. I don't know if you know this about Mount Rushmore or not. It's not finished. It was never finished. So maybe go back and finish your work before you start talking about decimating sacred native land even further. It's called Grandfather Mountain. That's what the natives refer to it as, because it was a very important monument to them. It was a very important mountain. It's where all their ancestors would be buried and stuff like that. And we just dynamited that shit. So let's get into this story here and see what's going on. I have my stories sorted by factuality, like I always do on my Ground News Agitator. And Newsweek popped up first. It's it's an outlet that we actually read a lot of stories from here on Ground News because they are center leaning, as you see here, with a high factuality rating. So we'll get into this story from Newsweek. Fresh push to add Donald Trump to Mount Rushmore is essential, they say. Yeah, okay. House Republican Andy Ogles of Tennessee. So it's the House, excuse me, not the Senate. I said the Senate earlier. So House Republican Andy Ogles of Tennessee has asked Interior Secretary Doug Burgum to put Trump on Mount Rushmore, the South Dakota-based national memorial celebrating four iconic presidents to mark his recent achievements. And it's not the first time that someone has suggested the addition. No, I think they started talking about this during his first presidency, which is ridiculous. Why it matters. Ogle's proposal indicates the strength of the grassroots Republican loyalty to President Trump, with a survey conducted between June 23rd and 26th finding 79% of registered GOP voters approve of his performance. However, this was down from 86% in March, so it's dropping. Approval is dropping. The National Park Service has previously said that any fresh carvings on Mount Rushmore would be impractical, and any official move to add Trump would almost certainly spark serious opposition. Yes, because they have looked at this mountain and it cannot support another face on it. Like, it's just not going to happen. What are you going to do? You would have to carve half of the fucking mountain out to make it, like, okay. All of the presidents were supposed to have, like, their entire torsos on Mount Rushmore, and if you go there, you can actually see, like, what inside one of the buildings there. They have a miniaturized version of what Mount Rushmore was supposed to look like, and then literally right out the windows next to it, you can see what Mount Rushmore actually looks like. So, what to know? Ogle sent a letter to Burgum, a copy of which was sent to the Hill on Thursday, urging him to explore the addition of Trump's sculpture to Mount Rushmore to recognize the president's accomplishments in restoring America's greatness. When did that happen, though? Like, okay. The Tennessee Republican added that such a move would have benefits of elevating the dignity and relevance of the site, thus increasing both its grandeur and visitor traffic, will occur to South Dakota and the Lakota Sioux and the broader area. No, that area is busy enough. Sturgis is there. Millions of people go there every single year. This is ridiculous. I have been to Mount Rushmore either 3 or 4 times since 2019. I can't remember how many times, but I took my son there in 2019 because I was like, I've never been there in my entire life. We're on this road trip. I don't know when I'll ever get the chance. And now I have a job where I go there like once a year. So I go there a lot. I'm at Mount Rushmore a lot. There is no shortage of tourists in that area. And in all honesty, like, they're pushing the infrastructure the way that it is. So this is ridiculous. The reasoning behind this Tennessee Republican, who's probably never even been there, has no idea about the area at all, has done no research as to whether the mountain could even support Trump's face being put on it. But, you know, let's go ahead and do this because it sounds good and the MAGA movement might like it. Like, what is going on? Are we really in that much of a cult of personality? Like, okay. In an ex-post made on Thursday, Ogle said, "I'm asking Secretary Burgum to put Trump on Mount Rushmore. Given the scale of the scope of the President Trump's recent achievements, especially the impending enactment of the Big Beautiful Bill, the historic act that will ignite America's golden age, it is essential that we immortalize President Trump's likeness on Mount Rushmore." And here is a mock-up that they put on it. In that spot, there isn't even enough mountain where they have Trump's face right now. They're like, and it's got like his whole head sticking out. That's ridiculous. That's never going to happen. And you can see in the very middle of this picture right now, like right where my hand is, all of this is all gravel from like the original thing that they did there that was never removed. So Thursday saw the White House approve Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill in a 218 to 214 vote, meaning the president will now be able to sign it into law as it narrowly passed the Senate earlier this week. We're fucked. The package includes tax cuts, additional funding for border security and the military, cuts to Medicaid and food stamps, and a $5 trillion increase in the U.S. debt ceiling. So we're taking money away from like poor Americans that need it, that can't afford food, can't afford health care. But we're giving tax cuts to the rich. We're increasing military funding, border security, and the debt ceiling. I hate to have to ever agree on anything that Elon Musk says, but he's right. It is not big and beautiful. It cannot be both things. So, Mount Rushmore was constructed in South Dakota's Black Hills between 1927 and 1941 and features the head sculptures of iconic presidents George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, none of which who were alive when this project started. So maybe that's something that we should take into consideration. Like, maybe we can consider this once Trump dies. That's when I'm okay, like, having this conversation. The site is controversial as it was taken from the Sioux Nation illegally, and in the 1980s, the Supreme Court ordered the federal government to pay $105 million in compensation, which doesn't seem like nearly enough. In January, Florida House Republican Anna Pauline Luna announced a bill calling for Trump to be added to Mount Rushmore, though it didn't proceed to a hearing. Yeah, that's who I remember hearing about this from. She is an idiot. Which is funny because she looks like almost exactly like one of the Portland city councilors who I really like. who's doing great things for Portland right now. Angelina Marino, I believe is her name. In his X post, Ogles added, like Washington, Trump did not seek his position for glory, but out of love for his country. That is bullshit. Championing American independence and reshaping the presidency with dynamism, clarity, and purpose. Like Jefferson, he's expanded Americans' horizons by pursuing new frontiers and breaking away from deep state tyrants. Can you give us some examples of this, please? Like Teddy Roosevelt, Trump took on entrenched interests, reinvigorated America's industry, and avenged the working class against bureaucratic bloat and corporate corruption. The legacy of Mount Rushmore cannot remain frozen in stone. It must evolve to reflect the full arc of American history, including the most recent and transformative chapter. Yeah, transformative in taking all the wealth from the people and giving it to the rich. Speaking to the Black Hills Pioneer newspaper in 2020, Mount Rushmore National Memorial Chief of Interpretation and Education, Maureen McGee Ballinger, said, "The rock that surrounds the sculpted faces is not suitable for adding carving." That's true. What happens next? There's no indication that the federal government has any immediate plans to add Trump to Mount Rushmore, and any such move would almost certainly spark controversy and legal challenges. But the reason that I highlight this story is because we know that this administration doesn't give any shits about controversy or legal challenges. They just don't care. They do what they want. So I am going to continue to highlight this story anytime that I see it, because I do not want this to happen. Like I said, I go to Mount Rushmore quite often for my job. I understand how the locals feel about it. I understand how the natives feel about it. And I think that we as American people should be a lot more respectful about the fact that we stole this land from people, and not just like go altering it any way that we want. And again, we want to talk about this. Fine. Let's wait until Trump's dead, and then we can have this discussion. So that's my 2 cents. Good times. Or is it fast times at Ridgemont High? Are we ready to get into the next story? I think we're ready to get into the next story. We're just gonna keep rocking and rolling here on Nightly News this morning. So, in our next story, the House passed Trump's mega spending bill, sending it to the president's desk. So, this is a huge story because it has implications for everybody who lives in the United States, and honestly, people everywhere worldwide. So, it's basically what everybody's talking about right now. I can't remember how Katie Stroll called it, the one big beautiful bill act or something like that. So if we look at our bias distribution, bam, 50% right down the center, 21% on the right, 29% on the left. So pretty equal distribution. And you can see, I'm going to highlight here the amount of articles. Oh, I need to move out of the way. Everybody's talking about this. Over 1,000 articles. Let me refresh it, because I just picked these stories this morning, so it hasn't even been that long. But when I refresh my news agitator, it's already up to 1,100 articles. So I'm going to sort this by factuality just so that you can see where I got my story from. And I might actually have to scroll down for a little ways because there's a lot of reporting on this. So I picked up, a story from the National Post, which is a right-leaning publication with very high factuality. But let's go ahead and read what the National Post has to say about Trump's big beautiful bill. So again, this is a right-leaning reporting article, so we'll see how they're spinning this. House Republicans propelled President Donald Trump's big $1 trillion tax breaks and spending cuts bill to the final passage Thursday in Congress, overcoming multiple setbacks to approve his signature second-term policy package before the 4th of July deadline. The tight roll call, 218 to 214, came at a potentially high political cost, with 2 Republicans joining all Democrats opposed. GOP leaders worked overnight, and the president himself leaned on a handful of skeptics to drop their opposition and send the bill to him to sign into law. Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York delayed the voting for more than 8 hours by seizing control of the floor with a record-breaking speech against the bill. You get tired of winning yet? Said House Speaker Mike Johnson, invoking Trump as he called the vote. With one big, beautiful bill, we are going to make this country stronger, safer, more prosperous than ever before, he said. Republicans celebrated with a rendition of the Village People's YMCA, a song the president often plays at his rallies during a ceremony afterwards. A ceremony for a bill passage. Dude, where the fuck are we as a country right now? The outcome delivers a milestone for the president by his Friday goal and for his party. It was a long-shot effort to compile a lengthy list of GOP priorities into what they called his one big beautiful bill, an 800-plus page measure. With Democrats unified in opposition, the bill will become a defining measure of Trump's return to the White House, aided by a Republican control of Congress. At its core, the package's priority is U.S. $4.5 trillion in tax breaks enacted in 2017 during Trump's first term that would expire if Congress failed to act, along with new ones. This includes allowing workers to deduct tips and overtime pay, unless you're a private contractor, and a U.S. $6,000 deduction for most older adults earning less than $75,000 a year. There's also a hefty investment, some $350 billion, in national security and Trump's deportation agenda to help develop the Golden Dome defensive system over the U.S. Are we worried about getting bombed now? Is that why we have to do this? Like, why is our military spending going up? This is so ridiculous. To help offset the lost tax revenue, the package includes a U.S. $1.2 trillion in cutbacks to the Medicaid health care and food stamps, largely by imposing new work requirements, including for some parents and older people, and a major rollback of green energy tax credits. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates the package will add $3.3 trillion to the deficit over the decade and 11.8 million more for people to go, and 11.8 million more people will go without health coverage. This was a generational opportunity to deliver the most comprehensive and consequential set of conservative reforms in modern history, and that's exactly what we'll be doing, said Representative Jody Arrington of Texas, a House Budget Committee chairman. Democrats unified against the bill as a tax giveaway to the rich, paid for on the backs of the working class and the most vulnerable in society with what they called trickle-down cruelty. Jeffries began the speech at 4:53 a.m. and finished at 1:37 p.m., 8 hours and 44 minutes later, a record he argued against what he called Trump's big, ugly bill. We're better than this, Jeffries said, who used the leader's prerogative for ultimate debate and read letter after letter from Americans writing about their reliance on the healthcare programs. I never thought I'd be on the House floor saying that this is a crime scene, Jeffrey said. It's a crime scene going after the health and the safety and the well-being of the American people. And as Democrats, he said, we want no part of it. Tensions ran high. As fellow Democrats chanted Jeffrey's name, top Republican Representative Jason Smith of Missouri, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, called his speech a bunch of hogwash. Hauling the package through Congress has been difficult from the start, for Republicans have struggled mightily with the bill nearly every step of the way, quarreling in the House and Senate and often succeeding only by the narrowest of margins, just one vote. The Senate passed the package days earlier with Vice President J.D. Vance breaking the tie vote. The slim majority in the House left Republicans little room for defections. Once Johnson gavelled the tally, Republicans cheered USA and flashed Trump-style thumbs up to the cameras. So our legal system has become a reality TV show now. Despite their discomfort with various aspects of the sprawling package, in some ways it became too big to fail, in part because Republicans found it difficult to buck Trump. As Wednesday's stalled floor action dragged overnight, Trump rallied against the delays. "What are Republicans waiting for?" the president said in a midnight post. Johnson relied heavily on the White House cabinet secretaries, lawyers, and others to satisfy skeptical GOP holdouts. Moderate Republicans worried about the severity of the cuts, while conservatives pressed for steeper reductions. The lawmakers said they were being told the administration could provide executive actions, projects, or other provisions in their districts back home. So you don't like this bill? Don't worry. We'll put in an executive order later that fixes whatever you don't like for your particular state. That is so ridiculous. The alternative was clear. Republicans who staked out opposition to the bill, Representative Tommy Massey of Kentucky and Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina, were being warned by Trump's well-funded political operation. Tillis soon announced that he would not seek re-election. Jesus. Massey voted against it, as did Representative Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, who was concerned about cuts to Medicaid. In many ways, the package is a repudiation of the agendas of the last two Democratic presidents, a chiseling away at Medicaid expansion from Barack Obama's Affordable Care Act, and a pullback of Joe Biden's climate change strategies in the Inflation Reduction Act. Democrats have described the bill in dire terms, warning that cuts to Medicaid, which some 80 million Americans rely on, would result in lives lost. Food stamps that help feed more than 40 million people would rip food from the mouths of hungry children, hungry veterans, and hungry seniors, Jeffrey said. Republicans say the tax breaks will prevent a tax hike on households and grow the economy. They maintain that they are trying to right-size the safety net programs for the population they were initially designed to serve, mainly pregnant women, the disabled and children, and root out what they describe as waste, fraud, and abuse. The Tax Policy Center, which provides a nonpartisan analysis of the tax and budget policy, projected the bill would result next year in a U.S. $150 tax break for the lowest quintile of Americans, a $1,750 tax cut for the middle, and $10,950 tax cut for the top. That's compared to what they would face if the 2017 tax cuts expired. So tax cuts for the top more than anything, it seems, but that's where we're at. So I was going to get an EV. Now I have to rush to get one to get the federal tax cuts. Yeah, my brother bought an electric Fiat, I believe, and he did that because he was worried about this kind of stuff and the tax credits expiring and everything. But he got almost like $8,000 off of it. It was really good. He bought it brand new, and it's a really nice looking car. He loves it. So I hope that you're able to get it. EVs are fun, I hear. I don't know much about them, so. All right. Next story, Gavin Newsom is traveling to South Carolina next week to meet voters amid 2028 speculation. So, if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Gavin Newsom is the governor of California. California, not where is this? If I could get my fucking mouse to work here. Not this state? Yeah, that doesn't say California. So, bias distribution, we've got left 38%, center 38%, right is 25%. I think the right cares a lot less about this than the left, maybe, which is weird because they're the ones who like to push him as a boogeyman. I don't like Gavin Newsom. I do not want him to be the front runner of the Democratic Party, so I am going to highlight this story because he should be focusing on his fucking state and taking care of what's going on. So now we have 13 articles. Ooh, Breitbart is reporting on it now. We'll sort by factuality here. And my story is from... Who is my story from? Let's go over and look at it. Palmetto Politics. I don't know. Post and Courier. Okay, Post and Courier. So Post and Courier is is the third top. It's the first center leaning. Factuality is very high. And let's read this article here. So Gavin Newsom is taking his message straight to South Carolina's most pro-Trump territory. Why? Why aren't you worried about those fires? And do you know that people in Malibu still can't rebuild their houses because they can't get fucking building permits? Do you know that Highway 1 has been falling into the ocean in Big Sur for 3 fucking years? We haven't been able to do our PCH tour through there. Why are you not taking care of stuff at home, Gavin Newsom? You're not the man to be president, buddy. Look at just a man of the people, like a modern day Ronald Reagan. No. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a 2028 Democratic presidential prospect, will take his blue state politics deep into South Carolina's Trump territory with a visit next week. I hope they boo the fuck out of you there. Newsom is headed into some of the state's reddest strongholds in a 2-day tour that is part of a broader effort to show Democrats what it looks like to take their fight deeply into conservative ground in 2025. Except for this article is bullshit because Bernie Sanders and AOC have been doing that for months. 4 months. This is Gavin Newsom being a Johnny-come-lately and like realizing that Trump and that Bernie and AOC are actually gaining traction and gaining ground, and he's like, oh shit, maybe I should do this. But you're not the guy, Gavin. You're not the fucking guy. So conservative ground in 2025 and maybe in 3 years. His 8-stop on the road tour on July 8th through the 9th will hit Midlands, PD, and upstate regions. The schedule includes a stop deep inside the MAGA's lion's den of Pickens County, where President Donald Trump won in 2024 with 76% of the vote. Nestled along the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains in the northwest corner of the state, this small but fiercely conservative county is where Trump has consistently posted his largest margins of victory. It's also where the support ran so deep that a Trump campaign rally became the main event of the 2023 Independence Day Festival in Pickens. Secret Service shut down Main Street, and thousands crossed state lines and stood for hours in the blistering July heat for the chance to hear from him. Some fainted. According to the itinerary shared with the Post and Courier, Newsom on January, it says January, but it should be July 8th, I believe, will shake hands and take some questions in the decidedly intimate setting: cafes, coffee shops, churches, and even Crenshaw County Council on Aging, because he can't sell out any big crowds, like not in that area. The day includes stops in Bennettsville, Camden, Chesterfield, Florence, and Mullins. This is literally just a publicity thing. Like, he's going there. Like, the difference, like I said, again, AOC and Bernie, people are actually coming out and they're getting big crowds and like filling places. That's not happening with Newsom. He's got to go to these smaller little places because he's not popular enough. Like, he does not have the national popularity that Bernie or AOC have. The South Carolina Democratic Party, which had announced Newsom's tour, is billing the effort as a way to bring national Democratic leaders directly to communities that it says have long been overlooked by the Republicans. These are places, the party says, that have been left behind in the wake of devastating natural disasters like Hurricane Helene, as well as economic downturns and failing infrastructures. The state party said that Newsom will be listening to local concerns and making the case for how federal support and investment can help communities not just recover but come back stronger. His visit carries a clear political weight in a state that, for now, remains the lead-off contestant on the Democratic presidential primary calendar. As governor of the nation's most populous state, Newsom has emerged as one of the Democratic Party's most visible Trump critics. And that's the other thing, too, is that, like, Newsom is only good at like being against Trump. He's not good at actually being a Democratic leader. Like, his whole focus has just been fighting Trump. That's it. That's literally it. We need more than that. We need somebody who can actually bring policies and show us what their agenda is and be honest about what they're doing and not be two-faced when the state is locked down and going out to fancy restaurants with your friends, dude. Nobody forgot about that, Newsom. Nobody forgot about the French Laundry or whatever it was. After Trump took the extraordinary step of federalizing the National Guard and sending Marines to Los Angeles over Newsom's objections, the governor responded by suing the Trump administration, alleging abuse of power that he argued mark an unmistakable step towards authoritarianism. His South Carolina trip also isn't the first time Newsom has sought to forge inroads in redder parts of the country. In 2022, he purchased ads in Texas and Florida criticizing the state's Republican governors. Did he purchase them, or did the state of California purchased them, I wonder. Republican governors on abortion rights, and followed up by channeling millions of dollars into a PAC intended to play in GOP-controlled states. In late 2023, he debated Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who was then a GOP presidential candidate. Many political observers saw this as a 2028 preview. In 2024, Newsom visited South Carolina to campaign for Joe Biden at the Sun City Retirement Community in Bluffington and at Morris College, a historically black institution in Sumter. In addition, Newsom, in addition to Newsom's return, another California Democratic will soon visit the Palmetto State. U.S. Representative Ro Khanna, a Silicon Valley congressman, is set to appear at a July 19th town hall in Goose Creek alongside the progressive group Protect Our Care. The event is being billed as an effort to hear from people directly impacted by Trump's mass firings, the Republicans' $880 billion in Medicare cuts, and other egregious attacks by the administration and its allies. All right. Well, like I said, I want to highlight that because I don't think that Gavin Newsom is a good Democratic candidate for president. I think that there are much better people out there. So just something that I wanted to highlight. Anyway, get my Juneberry Red Bull, not a sponsor, tubes. But you know who is a sponsor? Today's episode. I forgot to go into that. Let me pull up my sponsor thing here real quick. And we'll do a quick little ad here. All right, now that I got that pulled up, let's get into our ad. So, thanks for watching Thanks for watching Nightly News this morning. Today's episode is sponsored by my YouTube channel because that's the only person who would sponsor me. Have you subscribed to my YouTube channel yet? If not, I would definitely appreciate it. I have right now currently 199 subscribers. I'm literally only one subscriber away from 200. I don't get monetization. I just do this for the fun of it. I like to bring people the news from as much of an unbiased opinion as I can, or at least point out my own personal bias when I'm reporting the news. And I've got all kinds of cool things. I've got, if you go into the videos tab, you can see all of the past news stories, the individual things that I've done as far as stories. We've got a story here about Rand Paul going up against Mike Johnson. And you can see if you look at the description of the story, I actually even have the individual article that I was reading in the description of the story. So you can always go back and read the story yourself if you don't like the way that I read it. And you can see there I had less of a beard because I had just gotten back from tour. But so under the videos, yeah, we've got individual articles. You can go into the live tab here and see all of the past episodes of Nightly News This Morning that I've done on this channel. And then if you go into my YouTube shorts, I think this is the really fun part. You can see all the travel shorts that I've done when I'm on my motorcycle tours. So those are pretty cool. My favorite, well, I have a couple favorites. This one's pretty good. There's this one where you drive through a tree. That's pretty nifty. Did you know there's a tree you can drive through? So that's pretty interesting. If you haven't checked that out, that's pretty awesome. There's also this one, which has got some really cool views of Highway 1 in California. On my trip back from Los Angeles, I drove up the coast and got some footage there. When I was on my Route 66 tour, I was able to stop at quite a few places. This guy's really cool. His name's Harley. He's from Eric, Oklahoma. He's kind of a hillbilly who plays music. And he's got all of these signs from Route 66. Really neat, really neat. So, like I said, today's episode of Nightly News This Morning is sponsored by the Cousin Matt YouTube channel. So please go check it out, subscribe, and like all of my videos if you haven't already. And check out Harley and all the traveling that I've done and all that good stuff. So anyway. All right. Let me get out of that there. Hope you like that ad. We're definitely not sponsored by Ground News. We pay Ground News so that we can do the show. I say we like it's anybody but me. All right, I got one more story this morning. It's about aliens. Aliens? Well, kind of. ESA confirms A11PL3Z as the third known interstellar visitor. So I picked this story because it had to do with Oumuamua. The thing that what was that, 2017 or 2014, very weird shaped object that entered our galaxy, our solar system for the first time that we knew about. So We've got fairly center-leaning distribution with 52% coming from the center, 32% coming from the left, 17% from the right. So there is definitely more left-leaning reporting than right, but it's mostly center. Factuality basis is 93%. When we sort by factuality, I don't even know what I have pulled up. The Conversation, very high factuality, center-leaning, and let's go in and read about it. Astronomers have discovered another puzzling interstellar object. This is the third one, is big, bright, and fast. Astronomers manning a asteroid warning system caught a glimpse of a large, bright object zipping through the solar system late on July 1st. The object's potential interstellar origins excited scientists across the globe, and the next morning, the European Space Agency confirmed that this object, first named A11PL3Z and then designated 3I Atlas, is the third ever found from outside the solar system. Current measurements estimate that Atlas is about 12 miles wide, and while its path won't take it close to Earth, it could hold clues about the nature of a previous interstellar object about a planet formation in the solar system and planet formations in the solar system beyond ours. On July 2nd, Mary Magnuson, an associate science editor at The Conversation US, spoke to Daryl Seligman, an astrophysicist at Michigan State University who has been studying Atlas since its discovery. What makes Atlas different from its predecessors, 3I Atlas? We discovered two interstellar objects so far, Oumuamua and Comet 2I Borisov. Oumuamua had no dust tail and a significant non-gravitational acceleration, which led to a wide variety of hypotheses regarding its origin. 2I Borisov was very clearly a comet, though it had a somewhat unique composition compared to the comets in our solar system. All of our preparation for the next interstellar object was preparing for something that looked like Oumuamua or something that looked like a Borisov. And this thing doesn't look like either of them, which is crazy and exciting. This object is shockingly bright and is very far away from Earth. It is significantly bigger than both of the interstellar objects that we've seen. It's orders of magnitude larger than Oumuamua. For some context, Oumuamua was discovered when it was very close to the Earth, but this new object is so large and bright that our telescopes can see it, even though it is still much farther away. This means that observatories and telescopes will be able to observe it for much longer than we could for the previous two objects. It's huge and it's much farther away, but it's also much faster. When I went to bed last night, I saw an alert about this object, but nobody knew what was going on yet. I have a few collaborators who figured out the orbits of the things in the solar system, and I expect to wake up to them saying something like, yeah, this isn't actually interstellar, because a lot of times you think that many have found something interesting, but as more data comes in, it becomes less interesting. Then I woke up at about 1 a.m. My colleagues who are experts on the orbits were saying things like, no, this is definitely interstellar. This is for real. How can astronomers tell if something is an interstellar object? The eccentricity of the object's orbit is how you know that it's interstellar. The eccentricity refers to how non-circular an orbit is. So an eccentricity of 0 is a pure circle, and as the eccentricity increases, it becomes known as an ellipse, a stretched out circle. And then once you get past an eccentricity of 1, you go from an ellipse to a hyperbolic orbit, and that is unbound. So while elliptical orbit is stretched out, it still orbits and comes back. An object with a hyperbolic orbit comes through and leaves, but it never comes back. That type of orbit tells you that it didn't come from the solar system. When researchers are collecting data, they're getting points of light on the sky, and they don't know how far away they are. It's not like they see them and they can just say, oh, that's eccentric. What they're seeing is how far away the object is compared with other stars in the background, what its position is, and how fast it's moving. And then from that data, they try to figure out the orbit. This object is moving fast for how far away it is, and that's what's telling us that it could be hyperbolic. If something is moving fast enough, it'll escape from the solar system. So a hyperbolic unbound object inherently has to be moving faster. This is a real-time process. My collaborators have pre-existing software which will every night get new observations from the small bodies and objects in the solar system. It'll figure out and update what the orbit is in real time. We're getting data points, and with more data, we can refine which orbit fits the points best. What can scientists learn from this interstellar object? Objects like this are pristine, primordial remnants of the planet formation process in other planetary systems. The small bodies in our solar system have taught us quite a lot about how the planets in the solar system formed and evolved. This could be a new window into understanding planet formation throughout the galaxy. As we're looking through the incoming data, we're trying to figure out whether it's a comet. In the next couple of weeks, there will likely be way more information available to say if it has a cometary tail like Borisov, or if it has an acceleration that is not due to a gravitational pull like a Muamua. If it is a comet, researchers really want to figure out whether it's icy. If it contains ice, that tells you a ton about it. The chemistry of these small bodies is the most important aspect when it comes to understanding planet formation, because the chemical compositions tell you about the conditions the object's solar system was in when the object was formed. For example, if the object has a lot of ice in it, you would know that wherever it came from, it didn't spend much time near a star because those ices would have melted. If it has a lot of ice in it, that could tell you that it formed really far away from a star and then it got ejected by something massive, such as a planet the size of Jupiter or Neptune. Fundamentally, this object could tell astronomers more about populations of objects, a population of objects that we don't fully understand, or about the conditions in another solar system. We've had a couple of hours to get some preliminary observations. I suspect that practically every telescope is going to be looking at this object for the next couple of nights, so we'll get much more information about it very soon. All right, well, that's interesting. More interstellar objects. It's the third one, and that's kind of crazy. So that means, in my opinion, that either our technology has gotten to a point where like we're actually finally able to discover these things, or for some reason we're starting to get a lot more interstellar visitors. So yeah, it definitely points to one of two things. But anyway, that's an EV6 from Kia. I haven't heard of that. I'm gonna look that up, Nick, and see. But I bet it's gonna be fun to drive, and I bet you're gonna appreciate those fuel costs, man. I do gig deliveries as like a side job when I'm not doing my motorcycle job or other things, and so I have thought a lot about how nice it would be to have an electric vehicle to do those gig jobs, because man, gas is expensive and the rent is too damn high. You know what I'm saying, tubes? Anyway. That's what I've got for this episode of Nightly News this morning. I do appreciate you hanging out, checking me out on the 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, tubes. And if you're not in America, well, happy Freedom Day regardless. So, happy Freedom Day from the authoritarian country. Anyway, I really appreciate all you guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you're watching this later, please drop the video a like, put a comment in. Let's have a discussion. You liked something that I said. You didn't like something I said. You got to comment on one of the stories. Drop a like. I typically try to cut the episodes up and put them out as individual segments, from like 5 to 10 minutes long. I haven't had a chance to do that for like the last 2 or 3 episodes. I am going on tour in about a week, a little more than a week. And hopefully while I'm on tour, I'll have some time to get all of those previous episodes cut up. This is going to be the first time I'm taking all of my gear with me on tour so that I can try to hopefully do Nightly News this morning from the road while I'm doing it. I'm testing out my portable green screen. If you look, I'm going to move this here so you can see. It's not as big as my regular one, so it doesn't cover as much area. But I was able to get it to work today. So it's testing out my portable green screen there. So everything looks like it's gonna work. So I'm gonna try. We're gonna try to do Nightly News this morning on the road. So we'll see what Jeff Holiday has to say about that, since he's gonna be my roommate on the road. But anyway, I will be back on Tuesday, and we will do another episode. We've got Tuesday and Friday next week, and then I'm headed to Seattle. Going to hang out with Ben from the Drunken Peasants for a day, and then we start our tour in Seattle, and we go from Seattle to Los Angeles. So that should be pretty fun. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, tubes, from me to you, stay kind, be nice to each other, put positivity in the world if you can, where you can, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.